Jones,
Here.
Mr. Romine,
Here.
and I'm here. And like I said, Mr. Calderon will be joining us shortly. So Ms. Randall's going to join us and lead us in prayer, and I'll lead us in the pledge. If you want to please rise and join us.
Pray with me. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for all the things that you do for us and things that you give us and things that you take away. We ask you, Lord, that you provide us with the knowledge to do the job that we have before us. We ask for blessings and safety over our school and our students and our staff, the parents alike, and in all these things we give you praise and glory.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So moving on, I seek approval for the agenda for this meeting, January 20th, with one change. The item 2B, Board of Education Appreciation Month. We're going to postpone that until Mr. Calderon can join us. Other than that, if there's no other changes, I'd seek a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next, the boards had their packet and was able to review the minutes from the last meeting, December 16th. If there's no changes, I'd seek a motion to approve the minutes.
I have a motion to approve the minutes.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, recognition Congressional App Challenge winners.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, members of the board, if we want to move down in front, Ms. Ponce and Mr. Medina are going to recognize and give us some information on our two teams from the Congressional App Challenge.
Oh, it's fine. Good evening, Mr. President and members of the board, Superintendent Strickland. My name is Laura Ponce and I am the instructor for Game Development 1 and 2. This year, my students participated in the Congressional App Challenge, a nationwide STEM competition organized by the U.S. House of Representatives. The challenge encourages middle and high school students to design and develop original software applications that address real-world problems while building critical skills in coding, creativity, collaboration, and problem solving. I am proud to share that my students earned first and second place in New Mexico's 3rd Congressional District, an outstanding accomplishment that reflects their dedication, innovation, and technical expertise. As district winners, they have been invited to participate in the House of Code, an annual showcase held in Washington, D.C., where winning teams from across the country are recognized and have the opportunity to present their apps to members of Congress and industry leaders. This evening, I am pleased to introduce both, one of my teams isn't here, student teams who will tell you about their apps and the process behind their work.
Good evening, President and members of the Board of Education. My name is Kathleen Janae Ong, and I'll be the one telling you about our winning app, Stimuli.io. We created this app with code.org with the purpose of helping students calm down when they have any sort of condition of ADHD, or it's just basically it's an app where any student or any person can calm themselves down with this app with no sense of panic whatsoever.
Are there any questions?
What made you decide to do something like this? What was the reasoning behind y'all developing that specific app?
So, me personally, I am someone who is diagnosed with ADHD, and I find it particularly very difficult to focus on any sort of task in school, like homework or any form of task in general. So we decided to band together to create this app that can have chaotic minds be calmed down with this app in order to focus on one thing and not be so distracted about everything else.
I'm assuming that you use the app then for yourself, and what kind of things have you seen it do for yourself?
Me personally, this app has helped me focus a lot on, doing a certain task without worrying about other things that I really should not be thinking about while doing a particular activity that I should be doing. And I believe anyone else who will try this app will also experience the same.
The young man, I'm behind you. But does this app work for everyone?
Well, I am pretty confident that it will.
I mean, so you have a way to know if you have a failure and or a success rate in doing this?
If I had to think of a success
Mhm.
rate, I would say I would say 80%. I know different minds will have different reactions to this kind of app, but at least I know that there will be a specific group of minds that will benefit from this app.
Or would it help adults?
Yeah, well, adults with like very scatterbrained minds and have ADHD, yes.
Put that app on our laptop.
That's a before you do, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any of the other three want to share anything about the app or the experience?
I say the app is helping people, also showing the creativity. I'm spending that ad, knowing that even then we were hard to come up with that decision because we had prototypes and many did beforehand. That just happened to be our last idea. But with this district, but our state. I'm not making. Although me myself, I don't have help someone, especially in an environment like school that most people are probably going to use in a public area. So knowing that it's something that has benefit someone that you might know or something you might not know, but that you help someone that like we're so proud of ourselves. I want to actually win.
How about you two?
So do y'all get to launch this app, like, and then like you see benefits from launching this app?
So I didn't bring the laptop with us, but it is on our school laptops. We can launch it on there. Not on the actual website because of the firewall, probably, but beyond that, yes, that's one app. And then our second place winners aren't here today. That one was more of a game to get away from like the stress of life for the students who kind of struggle a little bit with social interaction with others.
We're definitely proud of you guys for sure. That's pretty awesome.
Oh,
They
we're
did
on it, sir.
they did get the opportunity last week to join a Zoom. That was an invite from Congresswoman Ledger Fernandez, and where she was able to congratulate the first place team for winning first in her congressional district with their app. We're able to talk to her a little bit about it. So appreciative of that effort and appreciative of really of our kiddos really stepping out and taking on a task that I'm sensitive.
Yes.
Found a goal, found an objective, and achieved that goal. And by the way, you ended up winning a challenge. So good job. Proud of you.
Good job.
Yep. Name their names for Andy's benefit, and then we can shake hands and we'll take some other pictures here. How's that sound, guys?
Yeah.
Y'all good? What do you think? All right.
You guys want to introduce yourself?
Go right ahead.
I am Jerry Stubb.
Once again, my name is Kazli Jan Aong.
simultaneous exemption.
Awesome. I want to find a spot in between each board member. You'll stand right here with me. We'll do this gentleman in the picture.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just didn't want to stand in front of Ms. Jones.
Come over this way.
Okay.
You see us all? Great job, guys. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh. Appreciate it.
The names are in the agenda.
That's it. I didn't get it down.
You're, on,
Yes.
What is your name?
Should I be trying to go down?
Yeah, go ahead, sir. Pam, you want to come stay down here?
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Next, we'll have the oath of office swearing in by Judge Miller.
No, I'm okay.
Yes. He's squared. Yeah, we're ready.
all right, let's go ahead and raise our right hand. I state your name.
I, Pat Randall, Pam Randall.
We will start over. Having been elected to the office of school board member
Having been elected to the office of school board member
in Lee County, New Mexico,
in Lee County, New Mexico,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States,
of the United States,
Constitution and laws of the state,
the Constitution and laws of the state of New Mexico,
and faithfully
and faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties
charge the duties
of said office
of said office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my
All
ability.
right, you made it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you both for running tough elections and congratulations on being elected again. And thank you both for your commitment to serve the students and the here in Hobbs. We definitely appreciate it. I know it's long. It's kind of a thankless job and a lot of hours and a lot goes into it. But I personally want to thank you both for the commitment and I'm an honor to serve with both of you for 4 more years. Well, 2 for sure. We'll see. Yeah. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Next is board reorganization. Per board policy BDH, January, we elect officials, the office of president, vice president, and secretary.
I make a motion that we keep the organization or the reorganization of this board the same that it is.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Not sure.
Yeah.
Motion carries. Thank you.
And to let everyone know that Terry O'Brien is our president, and our vice president is Mr. Terry Romine, and I am the secretary, Patricia Jones.
And I am a board member.
Thank you all. Next, is, the time we have public comment.
Mr. O'Brien, we have one public comment registered. Parks.
I'm not gonna read the statement. You know the drill. No, I'm just playing.
I think he's probably read it a time or two.
Probably.
Mr. President, members of the board, Mr. Strickland, I'm here on behalf of the JF Maddox Foundation. So we have quarterly meetings with the foundation. 3 of those meetings are in Hobbs, and the 4th one is typically off-site. But our next meeting is February the 21st. And with the number of elections that we've had, our board really likes to have constant contact and communications, collaboration with communities throughout. And so because 5 of our family members do not live in Hobbs, this is really a special time for them to get to know you and your spouse and to really get to know who our partners are. So I'm here to give you a save the date card. February the 21st at 6 o'clock is we will have our board meeting throughout that day. And that evening we will have a community dinner. And so we've been going throughout the county and inviting every school board through the 5 communities as well as the city commissions and your significant other if you'd like to bring them as well. So you'll receive an email from Hilda Mojica. So hopefully we have your email addresses accurately. We'll check with Mr. Strickland and make sure that. And I will just give you a warning that Hilda will continue to email you and will eventually call you if you don't respond. So, you know, if you're not able to make it, we certainly understand, but just let her know RSVP. But if you are, we would love to have you come that evening and share some thoughts and ideas to help our board, again, get to know you a little bit better so we can hopefully make this a better place for each and every one of us. You know, our vision and mission for the JF Maddox Foundation is to make this a place we're proud to call home. And I think that they stand by that very strongly. So with that, I would stand for any questions. And if not, I will hand out the cards to each of you and wish you a great evening.
Any questions?
I think so. We appreciate all that you and JF Maddox Foundation does with the school and partnerships.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
How have you been doing?
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a great evening.
TJ, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
One comment I do have in reference to the heat. We were trying out the heater to make sure it's going to work for this weekend. So it is warm in here. We have turned it down, so it's
Okay.
no longer getting hot,
Thank
but
you.
it's already hot.
Yeah. Yep. Any other comments? Is that it?
No, sir.
Okay, great. Instruction.
Evening, Mr. President, members of the board. Tonight, I bring to you a consideration for the senior Avid Capstone College and Career Readiness Exploration Trip. We have Melissa Dimmick and a couple of her students here to ask for permission to go on a trip. Good evening, Mr. President, board members, Mr. Strickland. My name is Melissa Dimmick. I am the Hobbs High School Avid teacher, and with me tonight are members of our class of 2026 Avid scholars, most of them in attendance as seniors, some have jobs in athletics. Before 2 of our students speak, I would like to briefly share with you all how we arrived here this evening. Each year, Avid intentionally works to provide our junior and senior scholars with a multi-day experience that extends beyond the classroom and exposes them to college and career opportunities. In mid-November this year, my seniors asked if this year's trip could go a little further than we have in the past. They wanted to go beyond New Mexico and Texas. I asked them what that meant and why, and their responses were thoughtful, enthusiastic, and seemed to center on opportunity and exposure. So I challenged them. I love nothing more than to dream big. I told them they could dream big with responsibility. I tasked them with planning a trip with purpose. They had to identify a meaningful destination, research their transportation options to get us to that destination, look at lodging, meals, public transportation at the city they wanted to attend, and what educational experiences we would have while we were there. They also had to keep in mind cost and feasibility. I was very transparent with our seniors as they got this started. This is not currently in the budget for Hobbs Schools for our AVID program this year, which means financial responsibility and planning would matter and would 99.9% fall back on them to take care of. They got to work, and along the way, they sought feedback, they revised their plans, they strengthened their public speaking skills and demonstrated exactly what AVID is designed to teach: ownership, inquiry, collaboration, and perseverance. I am incredibly proud of their growth, their professionalism, and their commitment to their futures. What you will hear next is not just a request for a trip, but evidence of the student leadership and learning in action. I am proud to introduce two of our AVID students. Madeline has been an AVID with us since 8th grade, and Ava joined us last year. Ladies?
Mr. President and members of the board, thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak today. We are here to ask to go to permission to go on a school trip to Los Angeles, California for a learning experience. Planning this trip has taught us to strengthen our communication skills. For example, we called hotels and different touring opportunities, introducing who we are and what our goal was, to expand our horizons and gain opportunity knowledge. This helped us build the confidence to step out of our comfort zones. We learned to work together using critical thinking skills, trying to find what would give us the best educational value. During the planning process, we also looked into visiting a major aeronautics industry and taking a trip to UCLA. These opportunities would have given us a great insight into aerospace, engineering, research, and higher education. We actually have an AVID student, Kevin, who is interested in aeronautics and has almost completed his flight hours to get his pilot's license. However, due to time restrictions and traveling logistics, we realized we needed to adjust our plan. Instead of seeing this as a setback, we took it as a learning point. We focused on creating a schedule that gave us the same learning opportunities. In the beginning, our plan wasn't strong enough, but instead of giving up, we had a growth mindset and took helpful feedback from our teachers and administration, revising our plan and improving our speech every time. We learned that success takes time and failure is a part of the process, and we would learn as long as we would keep an open mind. Coming here today has taught us to be adaptable by stepping up into leadership roles to represent our class. It may even have helped me come up with a new career path I didn't consider before, and it was being able to present. Coming here today taught us to be if this trip is approved, it would act as a capstone experience in our high school careers. Visiting universities helps us see what college is like and helps us prepare for after graduation. While visiting science facilities and Disney's leadership workshop will show us how STEM and teamwork work together to strengthen communities like our own. This trip is about learning, growth, and preparing for our futures.
Mr. President and members of the board, thank y'all for allowing us to come in front of y'all today to hear us out for our 2026 senior AVID trip. I want to start by talking about the teamwork and adaptability. From the beginning, our group had to adapt. Roles were divided between what students could contribute to, working on research, some on presentations, phone calls, and organizing the information. Each student was held accountable throughout the whole process. As challenges came up, we made little adjustments. Mrs. Dimmick, who played a huge role in helping us find deals and guiding us in the right direction. We were still held responsible to make the decisions and follow through. When receiving feedback from teachers and administration, we took notes and used them to improve our slideshow, fix unclear areas, and do research. We took all feedback in a positive way. This process has taught us how to use problem-solving skills in real-world situations. This trip matters to us because it has a purpose. This trip gives us opportunities to experience college life and see what our future holds beyond the high school level. Our passion kept us motivated knowing that we're the first AVID class to plan a trip like this. Seeing the class of 2027 was inspired by our idea kept us motivated to show them that it is possible. One of my main roles was designing the brochure. Creating it required a growth mindset. I went through several rough drafts accepting feedback and kept revising it until it was clear on what our purpose was. The brochure was a professional way of communication. We used critical thinking to decide what information was important. Designing this taught me how to communicate ideas beyond a classroom setting. This experience shows us that when we combine passion with communication, adaptability, a growth mindset, and critical thinking, we can create something meaningful. We have understood the responsibility, cost, and expectations that come with planning this trip, and we are prepared to meet them. Thank you for giving us y'all's time. Are there any questions or concerns that y'all would like to address?
Mr. President, members of the board, the reason why the request is in front of you is board policy states any trip outside 500 miles requires board approval, regardless of funding mechanism. Appreciate the ladies putting together the presentation and the class putting it together. Clarification on why that request is in front of you all as a board.
Anybody, any questions?
It's for 22 students and 3 chaperones. I see the breakdown of the cost. Is it something that the district is providing, or you all having to contribute some toward?
We would do fundraisers to raise our part of the money.
Okay. Is it gonna be per student?
Yes, ma'am.
I may have missed this. When are you planning on taking this trip?
We don't have an exact date, but we are looking somewhere around April 12th, April 18th, somewhere around there.
15th through the 18th
Oh,
is kind of where we narrowed it down based on some of the calls we've had to make. So when we would leave, if we fly, so there's 2 options. We've looked at flight cost and bus transportation. The flight cost is coming in cheaper now. And that would have us leaving Wednesday the 15th and returning Saturday the 18th in the evening.
So I understand this is the very first trip of this kind.
Yes.
I'm excited for them to want to venture out and to go other places. But there are a lot of colleges in the Los Angeles area, you know what I mean? I only heard UCLA jump out. Not sure in diameter, you know what I mean? Have you all picked out, 5, 10 or?
Yes,
how-
ma'am. Due to the time constraints, we had to narrow it down to 2. So the day that we fly in, if we fly in, the day that we fly in, we would go to Spartan College, Aeronautics and Technical College. We do have a couple seniors that have reached out by phone and talked to one of their recruiters. They're thrilled to have us come on campus. So we would spend the first day touring Spartan College. We would spend our first night in Anaheim, which is near, not too far from there in LA terms. And then our second day, we would participate in Disney Imagination Campus. They have a leadership program. It's a 3-hour training on leadership. I have told the kids, you have to buy a ticket to get into Disney to attend the camps. So I've told them when we're done, we can spend that day at Disney. They will be tasked to pay attention to customer service. Anybody that knows Disney knows that's their big thing. Their task is to bring back what they noticed in customer service that we could work on here as students, as staff, and as a Hobbs community. And then our third day, we would leave from Anaheim, travel into LA, spend the morning at UCLA, eat lunch at UCLA in their cafeteria. And then that afternoon, we would go to the California Science Center. That is actually free for us. They have quite a bit there, so we can spend most of the afternoon exploring at the California Science Center. And then that evening, the seniors have requested a fine dining option. Knowing that that's factored into their cost, they would like to try something different than the norm here, something 4 or 5 star, where we have to dress nicely, and get some of that practice in too. Something more than McDonald's.
Got to do In-N-Out Burger at least one day.
I have told them we have to
Yeah.
find In-N-Out,
Yeah.
yes.
I think, personally, I think it should be a great trip and great experience. Anytime we can, go out and kids can experience stuff like that outside of our little bubble here and see things like that. It's always, it always seems like it's a plus for sure.
What can we as a board, do to ensure that all of you all that are trying to go, are able to raise $1,600 per student in order to go?
Ladies? So they've talked about quite a few fundraising ideas. Once it is approved, we do already have a letter that some of my students would like to, their parents would like to present to jobs, companies who like to invest back into our students who have already said they would like to do some sponsorships. We did talk to Roadhouse, Texas Roadhouse, about doing a night where we serve and get the tips. So they've got a list of fundraisers that have surprised me. We would love if there is some money that we would have available from the board just to help possibly offset some of their cost, but we want you guys to know they are willing to raise it all if need be. They are dedicated to the trip.
The gentleman that just left, y'all should have tackled him.
Who is he? I can run.
That's the guy you need to talk to.
Oh,
right there.
yes, yes. I will take him a letter and see if he wants to
Yeah,
sponsor
for
us.
And if you want to, I'm gonna stick my neck out, just tell him Pat's in.
Absolutely.
I buy you a cup of coffee. And ask him, I'm quite sure everyone in this community, will do what they can do. Sometimes it's a matter of ask.
Yes,
you know.
ma'am.
But I do not want any student to be denied the right to go on this type of a trip because of funding. And so if you fall short, check back with Jean and make sure that you let it and O'Brien know so they can let us know.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
can't try to contact everybody, but if you let them know, then they can let us know, and we can we want to participate whenever we can and encourage other people, to participate. And I promise you guys, when you all talk about going to Roadhouse and doing the tips, don't forget that if you send it out to the schools, all the teachers, those people that are available, they'll probably have to do it in maybe more than one night. You know what I mean? You might have to, and I'm just saying that because I have good faith in the people in Hobbs, New Mexico, to come out and support you guys. So,
Thank you.
How many students are going?
There would be 22, we have 22 seniors, and then we would take 3 adults with us. So a total of 25 people.
I had a city commission meeting. Had to be there. So that's why I'm late. 22 students. Sorry, I missed most of the presentation, but
We did leave you a brochure, Mr. Calderon.
Any questions, comments?
No, just let us know when you're gonna be at Roadhouse.
All right.
We
Thank
always like
you.
good dinner and support, so.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
I'll
you.
go ahead and make a motion that we approve the trip
I said something.
minus the funding aspect at this point in time.
Mr. President, Mr. Romine, members of the board, I will update you in February as to how fundraising is going. At that board meeting, we did talk and these 2 ladies did come and make an appointment with my office, and we sat down and they presented the trip to me as a superintendent in advance of it getting on the board agenda as a consideration item under instruction. And ladies, great job. I think that was the different word that I shared than the other time, right? I said good job before, so great job. I'm super proud of you. And I look forward to an update. And so I'll get an email out and we'll stay in communication. One of those dates that we're going to look for is when's that date that says, here's when we're going to be done fundraising. So we have a true picture in terms of schedule. Other than that, got a motion and a second, Mr. President.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Go make some money, enjoy your trip.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're not all you kids out there, seniors and Abbott, pretty much.
We're all the Avid students.
Avid students, stand up for me.
Oh, wow.
Stay standing. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Y'all are free to stay the rest of the meeting. Actually, you have to stay if you want permission.
That's not true. Yeah.
On my meeting, I can't say that.
Okay. Moving on, Ms. Byrd, data. Oh.
Mr. President, members of the board, I have two informational items for you tonight. 80-day membership report, 80-day enrollment. We can start with that, and then we'll move on to attendance. So on the membership report for 80-day, the items to note are in green. Those are the updates. Those are new things. There's also other information on there for comparison purposes so that you can see what 24-25 school year membership looked like at the same time periods, and then also calculating the difference between 80-day to 80-day from this year to last year, down about 100-ish in each one of those areas. And the difference between 80-day from this school year and 40-day from this school year, we're down 3 enrollment, 25 membership, and 28.5 FTE membership. I will stand for any questions regarding membership.
Mr. President, members of the board, I appreciate John putting that together. And if you'll remember, one thing we started doing was looking at cohort analysis, recognizing that, yes, we're funded on membership, truly informing ourselves in terms of where the groups of kids are moving through our system. Once they're kindergartners, what does that look like in terms of first graders? What's that number look like? So we started tracking that. Overall, same group of kids, kinders from last year, 11th graders from last year that are now promoted to seniors. It's a tale of two tapes, so to speak. We actually have grown by 14 students in those same group of kids. So we do know that the cohort of seniors that just graduated, Mr. O'Brien and I had some invested interest in that group, a rather large group, where our kindergartners this year are not replacing them at that same volume. Overall, as a district, in terms of those groups that are our kids, so to speak, year-to-year cohort, about a 14 count growth over last year. So membership's what we're funded on, we realize that. And so seeing that growth in those cohorts is positive because that means more people are adding to our district. And the birth rates, what we all knew to be true 5 years ago, we've coined that the Netflix effect. People watching Netflix.
Not being bored.
Not being bored, yes, ma'am.
So does this also include the pre-K in these counts or no?
Yes.
Okay. Half counts. Yeah.
Correct. They don't
Half
have the
counts.
same, yes.
Yes.
Right.
Which honestly, I mean, is that just the half-day programs that count half?
They're calculated regardless of how we fund them, how we program them. Right now we got 260.
Almost all of our pre-Ks are full day now.
Yes.
Yeah, but we only get half.
Half membership. Through operational.
For ECEC.
Yeah, ECECD funds.
Any conversation with that?
Yes, sir. Very good point.
Any other questions, comments on the enrollment?
Moving on to attendance for 80-day, also the same time period. Earlier in this school year, I came before the board with 40-day numbers, which are still there in that upper left-hand box or set of boxes. In green are the new 80-day attendance numbers. Each school, it shows the number of students who are considered chronically absent. That's any student who's been absent more than 10 of their enrolled days. No, I'm sorry, more than 10% of their enrolled days. And you can see the total enrollment that they're counting for that window of time and breaking down the percentage number of chronic absentees divided by enrollment. It gives you your percent of chronic absences. The final column has the changes from 40 days. So you can see if there's been an increase in that overall percent chronic absentees or if there's been a decrease there. I did highlight a couple of decreases. I will say overall, our percent of chronic absentees is percentage-wise lower this year than it has been in previous. So, and we're holding much steadier this reporting period than we normally do at 80 going to 120 and then to EOY. So we'll be able to see that progression on this chart as I present the other two snapshots throughout the year.
I'm going to ask a rhetorical question. What percentage of these that are chronic or have been chronic in the past?
That's a good question. I would say just logically, yes.
A large percent?
Mr. President, Mr. Rendell, let me clarify that question to say, would you be interested to see little Gene that was chronically absent in 24-25 if he's among the percentage of students that are chronically absent this year?
That would be,
You're asking?
yeah,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Yeah, I think we can get that data. Be able to see if it's, what impact we're having on the chronically absent student.
Yes.
Yeah, great question.
We, Ms. Bird, thank you for the data. I know it's a lot of work to,
Yes.
to go into that. Do we know what's the state average and the state percentage?
Not for current. We don't get those, or we don't see those in real time like we do ours until it's published much later after the end of the school year. So statewide, it's running about 30% traditionally. Between 27 and 33% is roughly year to year what that's running. As far as individual districts go, we don't have really access to that.
Yeah, I can say, just talking to other board members at other districts, it's a statewide problem. It's just, we've talked about it all the time, and you want to be successful, you got to be in school. And those kids are in school and have a lot better chance of being successful. So, any other questions from Ms. Bird on the attendance data?
Have none other than, has anybody come up with a 4-leaf clover? Can we come up with something else? One thing I can say about the chronic, parents have a great responsibility. Younger ones, one thing, as they continue to get older, it's to be an ongoing problem. I know we've come up with programs to, I caught you being good, and one of the things that that maybe have been a successful, I don't know what it is, these kids have so much access to technology that, you know what I mean, you just don't know what else it is that could be a drawing point.
Right, a carrot.
To make them need to want to go to school.
And it starts with parents.
I have some.
Kindergartners are the worst offenders.
Yeah, I won't tell you what my mother used to do, but anyway, all I can tell you is, if you were sick Monday, then not get ready to go to the game on Friday.
Ma'am.
You will be totally dressed, have called your ride, figured out how you were gonna go. She said, "No, I don't want you to have a relapse." And I'm the middle child, so I didn't have to go through any of that. I watched what the older one did. I knew not to do that, So, I don't know, cause I see so many kids out and they're not all being homeschooled and they're not all out doing dentist and doctor appointments either, you know what I mean? So they need to come up with something. Appreciate the numbers though.
Yeah. Thank you. Anything else? All right. Thank you, Ms. Bird. Appreciate it. Mr. Byrd, Human Resources.
President, members of the board, you have your monthly human resources reports. This last month, we did have certified employment, 6 individuals came on. 5 of those were classroom teachers. With our classified employment, we hired 5 individuals. Did have 1 certified resignation with a teacher. 7 classified resignations over the last month, and then 2 certified retirements at the end of the semester, which were both out of the classroom. And then we had 3 classified retirements at the end of the semester. I stand for any questions.
You tell Mr. Kitty Bab that we rejected his, all that, yeah.
His second resignation.
His second resignation.
Any other questions, comments from Mr. Byrd? Thank you, sir.
Mr. President, members of the board, I want to add some additional context as it relates to human resources and staffing. So I've been working with Jenny Kavanaugh and Andy Engel of HR, begin to leverage the tools of social media. We know that we're getting ready to start the spring recruiting cycle of recruiting fairs and other things. So in working with them, we've crafted a model that says in advance of those job fairs, we're going to purchase advertisement on various social media platforms that highlight specific age groups, specific demographics, or so on, that say, hey, here's Hop Schools, here's who we are, come see us. I don't know that I understand this report entirely well, but essentially just today, is that correct, Jenny? You're welcome to. Okay. Just today, when we launched this ad, this geofence ad, 92,000 views. 927 of them clicked on the ad. 864 of them came to our webpage. We were to just leverage 10% of those that clicked on our webpage, we don't have a staffing shortage in terms of what the understanding of that is. So those are just from today, first day of the week numbers. So we'll continue to monitor that and see what those turn into as we go to those job fairs and folks say, I saw your ad, I'm coming by your booth. Or maybe we get interviews and applications even in advance of those job fairs. So just wanted to share that on the
Thank you.
context of that.
Great idea. Good job. Anything we can do? Yeah. Get them here. Mr. Young?
President, members of the board, going to do this a little different. So look up at the screen, going over the new middle school construction. This is an aerial of Hauser Middle School last week. Ms. Kavanaugh let us use our drone, and Sean Hardison is actually a licensed pilot. And so Mr. Hardison went out and took some pictures for me. What you see here is Hauser Middle School. That is a front view. So this is looking from Stanley at what you will see as the front of Hauser Middle School. You can see that the footprint is completely poured. Concrete's been poured. That is the entire footprint of Hauser Middle School as far as the building is concerned. Okay. The area that you see the walls in yellow, where the brick masonry will start going up, that is what we refer to as Area B. When you see things, Area B, Area C, that's Area B. That's our special ed wing on the bottom, sixth grade wing on the top. Okay. The other wing to the top left, that's area C. That's our seventh and eighth grade academic wings. So those are the areas that are going up first. And Heiser and all of their tradesmen are working counterclockwise around the building. So they will go from B to C to D, which is the kitchen, cafeteria, theater arts area, around to area E, which is the top right-hand corner, which is the main competition gym, practice gym coming down, locker room facilities. And then when you get to the bottom right corner, working to the left, bottom right, band hall, choir, art, and then the administration areas. And then in the middle, that section right in the middle are our elective classes of engineering, computer science, culinary arts. Those are where those classrooms are located, is in the center, along with the library. In between area B and C is the library. And then you have the courtyard. Go to the next slide, please. So this is looking from the west to the east. So you see Heiser, current Heiser, in the background. Kind of gives you an idea of what this building looks like compared to the current Heiser. Current Heiser is about 90,000 square feet. This building is 126,000 square feet. So a little bit bigger area. If you've been over there, you see that we're getting tight. We're right up against it. So where those gym areas are, band hall areas are, it's right up against the current Heiser. And so, of course, the goal will be eventually in progression. We will meet with Bradbury next week. We have a weekly meeting with them every Monday. We'll look at some of those milestone celebrations coming up, the topping out ceremony, things like that. Start getting those things onto your calendar for those events, because steel's going up fast. And so that's kind of a look at Heiser. The next slide. Inside, you can see inside a classroom there where the interior studs have been formed. You've got electrical conduit, electrical boxes laid. You've got HVAC, fire suppression, all of that's going on. And while they finish up one area, they, again, moving counterclockwise around the building. So next slide will take you to Del Norte, the new middle school. This is looking from the rear, so looking from Millen Drive south. You can see the area B is pretty much completed with the roof deck. We will start putting actual TPO onto the roofs and really drying those areas in the next 2 weeks. I met with the roofing consultant last week, again today, and so they have mobilized and roofing will start going up on that. Coming down off of the top left down, you see area C. That deck pour has been poured, so all the concrete at Del Norte is 100% completed. Heiser still has area C deck pour to do. So they've got one more pour to get on that second floor. And again, their footprint is completely laid out. Go to the next slide, please. So this is looking at it from the front. So from the Del Norte side. So area B, you see the yellow going up. Masonry will start in the next few weeks. TPO roof will start being laid onto the area B roof there, and they will work counterclockwise, B to C, and then into area D, the cafeteria, kitchen area. You can barely make out the stage kind of in the center. See the little indentation up there? Got a stage that's about this high that sits off of that commons area, so that when they do performances, people can come into the commons and watch the performance, and that will be a full theater at both campuses with lighting, sound, everything.
Oh, well.
Full theater production, theater class at those middle schools. And then, top left, main competition gym, small gym, weight room, and then bottom left, band hall, choir, art, administration, center for library and elective classes. So that's kind of where we are with those projects. Go to the next one, and you can see the interior at Del Norte is also coming along there as well. So we can go back now to the presentation. Apologize for that. Just wanted to give you a visual of that, of what's happening over at those two middle schools. Any questions on those? Okay. So moving on, we have the systems-based review that's unchanged. We're still waiting on PSFA to get with us on our request to replace those fire alarm systems, College Lane and Stone. We do have the engineering completed for Taylor and Mills to do their HVAC and electrical upgrades. Along with that, will probably be a roof repair at those campuses as well. Once we get into HVAC, some roofing issues that come in. Facility master plan, nothing happened over the Christmas holidays. So they're still compiling that for us. Once we get that, we'll begin that committee projects. Coronado was completed over the Thanksgiving break. I think we went over that in December. Watson Stadium and indoor, the multipurpose was completed when we left for Christmas. 100% complete done. Watson Stadium hit a little hiccup. They started putting the turf down. Went out and was watching them. They brought the letters out, started laying them out into the end zone. I said, stop. That's not going to work. We are not fluorescent yellow. And so they sent those back, and they've reshipped those letters. They should arrive tomorrow. And so they were already laying out other turf today. Back on track. They have assured me that we will still be completed prior to the beginning of activities for our spring sports. Central office stucco repair, we're gonna have some work done here at central office on the outside. We got major cracking occurring on the stucco on this new section over here. Be replaced and worked on. Got the quote in for that. Hopefully that was less expensive than I had. Moving on, security vestibules at Mills, Taylor, and Singer, those were all completed over the Christmas break. So that is key card access into those office areas, a very secured area at those elementaries. And then we will continue to work on those other elementaries next year. Roofing repairs were also completed over the Christmas break. And so now we have, those were our major ones, our biggest concerns. Those were completed, they're done. Now we're getting quotes for our other minor repairs that need to will be a Taylor Elementary playground. There was a hiccup at the manufacturing plant. And then we hit a hiccup once we started laying it out. We started looking at, before we dig, fiber runs. We got that corrected today, and so they will be here within the next 2 weeks. Construction playground. Indoor batting cage, we're working to put a bid package together. We have quote specs, working with Mr. Bushway in his office to get specifications. HMS board room upgrade. Had the quote at Christmas. We had them come back last week to show us exactly what they were talking about. I think we're okay. We're just waiting to get proper paperwork from the company so that we can do the PO and get started on that. As long as y'all approve but before I let him do that, does anyone
Questions on projects? The middle schools are on schedule?
On schedule and on budget.
We'll have to hear.
Thanks, Doug. Mr. President, members of the board, essentially what we're going to do here in the boardroom is we're going to close this circle, create some space behind us so that we can make elevation accessible. I've tripped over, and we're going to blame it on me. I've tripped over these steps more times than I like to count. Fortunately, no one's in here, so no one can see it or laugh about it, and David, I don't need security footage. But it will, essentially what we will do is we will close this circle. These pass-throughs will go away in order to close that circle. We'll have an accessible ramp behind Ms. Rozier, and then another one there behind Mr. Calderon that will allow us to get to the different elevations. There would be no ramp on this side. There would just be the 2 steps down right over here. Right now, that project is tentatively scheduled for starting Wednesday after our Tuesday board meeting, working through February and spring break of March. Have an additional week because of our board meeting in March being moved March 24th. So that will be that window of time when that work would happen in here. Hopefully, the plan is that it not look any different in terms of feel. We will have a different laminate in a sense, but appearance from the front will look the same. I will encourage you between now and the February board meeting, if you have any prized possessions in your drawer, take them with you and bring them back in March because the drawers will be different, and that'll give us a chance to start fresh with those drawers there.
Questions? Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Mr. Lashaway, let's go ahead, and we'll let's finish business and everything, then we'll move that recognition piece when you do your comment.
Perfect, that'll be great.
Mr. President, I'm
Yes,
sorry,
sir.
I forgot to mention one thing. On our website, through the work of Ms. Kavanaugh and Noe, we do have live cams on those construction
Oh, okay.
projects now. So if you click on the bottom of our website, there's a tab. Oh, he's going to it. Shows new middle school cams. It's going to be dark right now.
Oh, cool.
But during the day, you're able to view those.
Very cool.
And zoom in. Can't zoom out, but you can zoom in closer.
Also, you can see a time lapse as well.
Yeah.
You can rewind it and see a different time lapse.
I like that. Thank you. Lashaway.
Yes, Mr. President, members of the board, for your consideration tonight under business, we have headers A, B, and C that include our consideration of expenditures for December, consideration of investments, and consideration of one bar. It's approve initial budget for the public school capital outlay that was awarded back in December, or officially notified that we got that in December. So we've had these in your packet, so I hope you had time to review those and for any questions you might have on A, B, and C.
Thank you. The board's had their packet for a few days, so if you had any questions on any of these topics, found the answer to them. But any other questions or comments on those? If not, I'd seek a motion for approval of the December expenses, investments, and the one bar on the initial budget for capital outlay.
Someone. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. President, members of the board, under item D, we have our 26-27 budget calendar for your consideration tonight. We wanted to bring your attention under that budget calendar. There's our February 17th and March 24th. We were planning to have a budget committee meeting just to start working through all the plans. We may have to go into April. We're not sure. This is a tentative calendar. But at least the next two board meetings. And so we're planning to meet at 4 p.m. and we'll need 2 board members on that committee, so we just need to know who those two are.
I'll volunteer to do that just because I kind of know, been through the process a few times.
Right.
Nobody's gonna go with me?
I'll do. Yeah. Okay.
But we do bring that to you, for
Sure.
approval tonight.
Yeah, like I said, that's a busy time of year for the budget and gotta wait on the wanting to wait on the legislature to let us know what we can actually do, so.
Yes, sir.
And then it's always a waiting game to see governor sign it and all that, so.
Hopefully this will help us just keep moving forward, you know.
Yeah,
through
that's the
this
thing,
process.
and I talked to Mr. Strickland about that a little bit, we wanna make sure we have a good game plan in place and we're ready to, once we get that approval, we'll get that budget set for next year and highlight some priorities we have. I'd ask the boards, we have that meeting, before the February next year, if anything that y'all priorities or anything y'all consider that we want to discuss or look at during that meeting, just you can pass those on to me or Mr. Lashaway or Mr. Strickland, and we can definitely look at those and any issues or anything, like I said, priorities or anything like that we'd like to look at in the budget. One thing, and we talked to Mr. Strickland and about 85% of our budget, 90% of our budget set, on salaries. So we have about 10 to 15% of our budget we can, and then you got bills and everything else. So you don't have a whole lot of playroom there but like I said, if there's anything that y'all, we consider, that's why we want to have these meetings and discuss that and kind of see what budget approval process. So, thank you for that. Appreciate you sharing that. Anything else, Mr. Lashway?
Does that need approval or we just for information?
That's just for information.
Well, Mr. President and members of the board, item E is just our monthly informational budget report for December for you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Mr. Strickland.
Yes, sir. Mr. President, members of the board, first item I have for information is our legislative update. As of 12 p.m. today, the legislature of New Mexico is underway. Governor Lujan Grisham gave her State of the State address, but members of our legislature lay out her priorities over the next 30 days. As a reminder, our legislature meets every single year. Years that are odd numbered, they're what's called an open call, and they're 60-day sessions, and any piece of legislation can be introduced and filed regardless of what the agenda is. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get like a committee assignment or get heard. In even numbered years, 2026 being one of those, that legislature only meets for 30 days, and they're only to consider two things: budget items that affect the budget or call on the governor. So those two items are there. What I have for you there is really the dates of this session. I've been paying attention and trying to stay up to date with the pre-files that have been pre-filed prior to today. So the bills that you see at the bottom of that start with 23, 26, those are Senate bills. They will have numbers after today. Those are no longer pre-files. They're now Senate bills that have been introduced. But a couple things to pay attention there. House Bill 2, we will watch that consistently. That's a general appropriation. That's where the public school support package is every single year. No House Appropriations. The committee that initiates the budget, they began meeting last week every single day. They met 6 days last week. So they will formulate a budget, it will go to the House floor, then it will go to Senate Finance, and Senate Finance will do the exact same process. They'll make adjustments. They'll go to the Senate floor, and any adjustments that are made, it has to go back to the House for concurrence before going to the governor's desk. At that point, the governor will have that 30 days to sign that piece of legislation. And she has, as every other executive has had before her, line item veto power. So she literally can strike a single line item and can strike a single word out of a particular provision of that bill. So, School Employee Insurance Program is one we're paying attention to. House Bill 47. And essentially what this will do is right now we have certain minimums that the school district is required to pay as it relates to school premiums. So employees that make less than 50,000 annually, we're required to cover 80% of their premium. Employees that make less than 60,000, we're required to cover 70%. Employees that make less than 80, in that gap, or yeah, actually more than 79.99, we're required to cover 60%. Did I do all that backwards? No? Okay. The lower 50,000, 80%, 60,000, 70%, above 69,999, we're required to cover 60%. I may have screwed that up both times. Irregardless, none of that matters, except to say, we as a school district and you as a board made the decision 2 years ago to move every employee to that 80% threshold. So this school district provides additional incentive than what's required by statute, and that we cover 80% of every insurance premium to our employees. In the event that bill were to pass, there is money attached to it. We believe that that would generate some cushion for us in terms of the overall SCG. We'll pay attention to that bill. A couple other bills there. Senator Stewart is that first one there on High Quality Literacy Instruction Act. We're going to look at that some more and see what that actually means, especially where we are in terms of structured literacy, and what that impact is having on our classrooms and on our instructional model. Superintendents were paying attention to that. Enhancing or enacting the Special Education Act. This bill is a repeat bill. There's a few tweaks in it, but essentially what this bill is trying to do is codify the Office of Special Education into law. Right now, that Office of Special Education is created by executive order. And essentially, once the current administration were to term out January of 27, that Office of Special Education would no longer exist. So that will be an interesting bill to see where that falls. The next one there is a bill by Senator Souls out of Las Cruces, increasing mathematics requirements, teaching license endorsement. So I asked HR to start looking at that one and studying that one today, see what those implications are in terms of our teacher preparation, as well as our current teacher licensure on mathematics. Randall, we may be able to put your math endorsement back to work.
It's a no.
Two links there, House pre-filed and Senate pre-filed. Again, as I populated this, those were the links that we had. We'll send out an update probably tomorrow as that Senate side is updated on those pre-filed bills. They are all already active. It's been a busy interim session. Where that will land in the next 4 weeks, only time will tell. Have been looking at the 4 different budget recommendations, the budget recommendation from PED, budget recommendation from the executive, Legislative Finance Committee, and the Legislative Education Study Committee. They don't vary a ton. When you're talking about $5 billion, there's not a ton of variability between the 4 budget recs, which is good news. Interesting thing is where are those pockets of money going to land? Are they going to land in designated funds? Are they going to land in formula funds? Are they going to land in application funds? In terms of those differences, I think there's like $173 million right now. That's the difference between the 4 funds. All 4 of them do propose a 1% increase at a minimum of salary. We'll see. They're not all recommending that. I think there's 2 of them that's their recommendation. Others that are higher than that. So we'll see what comes out of House Appropriation as the watermark. We'll see what Senate Finance does to it after that. And I'd stand for questions on legislative update.
Questions on legislation?
Mr. President, members of the board, the last item I have for you is for information regarding a conversation that's been ongoing. Mr. O'Brien was present at a meeting with superintendents and legislators some time ago where a legislator challenged superintendents in the room to pay attention to our, in his words, abysmal performance as a state as it relates to education. We challenged him back to define what performance truly meant and what measure are we truly looking at. We had a good discussion. It was a beneficial conversation. I don't mean to pose that in terms of it was adversarial. It was a very beneficial conversation. So a group of superintendents and I continued that conversation to be able to say what truly is the mark. We really were asking the question, if we truly are last in terms of the state, then tell us we're truly last from a universal measuring system. Don't tell us we're last just because this performance is here and this performance is here across multiple states. Can't compare a football team's performance to a basketball team's performance and say one is better than the other. That's essentially what we're doing in the United States as it relates to proficiency. Every single state, every single sport is setting their own proficiency mark. So Mr. Lee White, Superintendent in Loving, was able to, I don't know if he's strong-armed, and the reason why I say it that way is we have Erica Bierman from Everest Analytics joined us as well this evening as we have this discussion. And really just it's more information and overview about really what we know now. And so what Everest did is they were able to take, the original ask was, I want 2 school districts from each REC region. So there's 10 REC regions. They wanted 20 school districts to be able to raise their hand and say, you can have our data. We'll look at it and create a universal framework. They got 29 that they, actually before they finally said, no more. We've got to finish this study. Well, they stopped at 29. Hobbs Schools is in that sample group. And there's about 111,000 students in this sample that we were able to analyze. In comparison, a lot of times we get judged by the NAEP report. It's called the Nation's Report Card. Fortunately, that's a narrative that publishers of NAEP aren't happy with. They don't like that. That's not what their assessment is set to do. It's not set to compare state to state, but yet it still gets used. And it's an inaccurate representation of student performance. Interestingly enough, the NAEP in New Mexico assesses just under 5,000 students. That communicates the picture for our entire state of New Mexico. We have roughly 300,000 students in New Mexico. The NAEP report card is generated on a gross undersampling of our student population. 111,000 students gives us a much broader sample. Not all students, we recognize that. But again, 29 districts, 111,000 students allowed us to look at some things. And our commitment to Everest, to Barsa, CEO of Everest Analytics, was you got to go with the data. Whatever the study finds, it doesn't get to go in the file drawer. And that's a tough question sometimes because people do analytics and they do studies. It doesn't tell them what they wanted to know. And they just put it in a drawer, file it away. Our commitment to Everest, by the way, did this at pro bono. They did not do this. They did not charge a superintendent's organization. They did this for free. So if you would allow us, we're going to play an overview video that is, we did fix the audio piece from last month. Good job, David. So this is an overview video of the 65-page white paper that was put together by Everest Analytics.
Hey everyone. So we've all seen the headlines, right? The ones that consistently rank New Mexico near the bottom for education. But what if that's not the whole story? What if it's not even the right story? Today we're digging into a fascinating new report that uses some really smart data analysis to flip that entire narrative on its head. So get ready, because this might just change how you see student success. So let's just dive right in with the big question. Is New Mexico really last in reading? For as long as most of us can remember, the state's been stuck at the bottom of those national rankings. But what if those rankings are actually misleading us? What if the real story isn't about students falling behind, but about something totally different? You know, the headlines paint this really bleak picture. But then you see a photo like this one. You see the pride, the accomplishment on a student's face. And it just doesn't quite add up. It makes you wonder, are we even measuring the right things? This new research suggests we've been missing a huge piece of the puzzle, actual student growth. Okay, so first, let's unpack the story we all think we know, the one that's been shaping public opinion for years. Right, so this is the narrative we're all used to hearing. Low test scores, a failing system. It's a very straightforward and, let's be honest, pretty depressing story. But the research we're looking at today says, hold on, there's some critical context missing here. So how do we get a clearer picture? Well, the researchers behind this study came up with a pretty brilliant solution, creating what you could call a universal ruler for reading, something that lets us make a real apples-to-apples comparison for the first time. See, here's the fundamental problem. New Mexico, like a lot of states, uses a whole bunch of different reading tests. You've got the NMMSA, iReady, NWA MAP, you name it. Trying to compare results from all of those is like trying to build something when one person is using inches, another is using centimeters, and a third is using feet. It's just a mess. You can't get a clear picture. The key to fixing this mess is something called the Lexile framework. The easiest way to think about it is like a thermometer for reading. It gives us one single universal scale to measure two things: a student's reading ability and how hard a text is. This one simple tool is the key to finally understanding what's really going on. So the method was actually pretty straightforward. First, they gathered up all the data from all those different tests. Then they put everything on that universal Lexile scale, kind of like converting everything to inches. And once everything was on the same ruler, boom, they could finally see the real growth patterns that had been hidden in the data all along. So, what happened when they actually applied this universal ruler to all that data? Well, this is where the story takes a really dramatic turn. Okay, now this is where it gets super interesting. Take a look at this chart. That red line represents students in New Mexico, and the teal line is the national median. Just look at it. In 5 out of these 6 grades, New Mexico students are growing just as fast as, or in many cases, faster than their peers across the country. This isn't a picture of a failing system. This is a picture of incredible, steady growth. And the report itself couldn't be clearer. It says flat out that students are growing at or above the national norms. This is the first huge piece of evidence that just completely flips that old story on its head. Which, of course, brings us to the million-dollar question. If students are growing so well, why are the state's official proficiency rates and rankings so darn low? This is the central puzzle, the big paradox at the heart of this entire study. Well, the answer to that puzzle doesn't have to do with student performance. It has everything to do with the state's expectations. Let's take a look. This chart right here, this is the big reveal. It's the aha moment. Each one of those clusters is a different grade level. Now that red bar, that's the score a student in New Mexico needs to be considered proficient. The gray bars are other states, and the teal is the national median. Just look, in almost every single grade, New Mexico's bar is higher than its neighbors, and often it's way higher than the national median. So the single most important takeaway is this. We've been telling the wrong story this whole time. This isn't a story about students failing to meet the bar. It's a story about New Mexico setting that bar incredibly high. To put it as simply as possible, the reason for the state's low proficiency rates isn't poor student growth. It's a direct result of having some of the most rigorous, most demanding academic standards in the entire country. Okay, so what happens if we actually level the playing field? Let's just see how New Mexico's students stack up if we measure them against the lower standards of some of their neighboring states. And the report makes this really powerful claim. When you use the exact same measuring stick, New Mexico students perform just as well as, and sometimes even better than, kids in neighboring states. This slide shows that idea perfectly. Let's just take Texas as an example. The light red bar is New Mexico's official proficiency rate. The gold bar is Texas's. But now check out that dark red bar. That's what New Mexico's rate would be if they used Texas's lower standards. It's pretty amazing. In 4 out of the 6 grades, they would actually be outperforming Texas. And this isn't just a fluke with Texas. The study found the exact same pattern when they compared New Mexico to Arizona, to Colorado, and to Oklahoma. When you set the bar at the same height for everyone, that proficiency gap that we always hear about, it often just vanishes. Sometimes it even flips the other way. All right, so armed with this totally new understanding, what's the big takeaway? What should educators, parents, and policymakers in New Mexico do with this information? Well, the report lays out 3 really clear common sense actions. First, use this incredible growth data to help guide teaching in the classroom. Second, explain the context of these high standards so people don't mistake low proficiency rates for poor performance. And third, double down on the basic things that make learning possible in the first place, like making sure kids are actually in school every day. You know, the message here is ultimately really optimistic. This isn't about lowering that high bar New Mexico has set for itself. Not at all. It's about recognizing the real, tangible progress that's already happening and building on that momentum so that even more students can clear that high bar. And this really brings us to our final thought. This whole analysis completely changes the conversation, right? It moves it from why is New Mexico failing to how can we help more of our students meet these ambitious goals? And it leaves all of us with a much bigger question to chew on. In a world that is so obsessed with simple rankings, what is the true long-term value of holding your students and your entire system to a higher standard?
Thanks for indulging the video of 6.5 minutes of really providing an overview of what that data tells us in that analysis. A couple things to follow up on that. We've had meetings with PED staff, assistant secretary level, as well as a director of assessment to share that, because there's no secret here. There's no surprise here. It's literally the conversation focused around Lexile framework. One thing that is not included in this is the quantile framework. You think Lexile is literacy, quantile is the same for mathematics. Interesting thing about Lexile is, the phrase has been said, a Lexile is a Lexile is a Lexile. It's not a proficiency standard that each state gets to set. I had LaShawn and her team just do a entry-level analysis of our students and just our district. If we were, and you'll see, and you saw that this is just state to state. Everest was fully transparent and said, we will not compare districts. That's not what this is about. This is about a New Mexico narrative. Well, I'm just too darn competitive for that. I want to know how we share it, how we shape up. Using just one state's alternate metric, we would have the majority of our 3rd through 8th graders in these tested grades near 80% unproficient. So share that to say, we know we have good things going on. We know that our students are being prepared in a much higher level of rigor, a much higher standard of performance. We're not saying, hey, let's just lop off 18 points and let's move that high jump bar down from 6 feet. Let's move it down to 3 feet. Not what we're saying. What we're saying is, let's communicate the true measure of growth that's occurring among our students, that's occurring among our layer 1 instruction in our classrooms, and begin to talk about that narrative rather than we're always last. Truly have the data that says we're not last. We've just been playing a different game and everyone else has been playing. And so now it's time to, we don't even want to play their game. We want to communicate the score of the game we're playing, given a universal rule book. Lexile is a universal rule book for us. But to follow up on that, I shared with Mr. O'Brien before we got started, did get a confirmation about 3 hours before we started. Thought it was going to happen tomorrow, but we weren't real sure with the session starting. But our Lieutenant Governor has invited 3 of us to be in his office, talk about this and share this narrative as well, so that he can begin to ask questions. So stay tuned. Not sure where this all will go, except to say there's more to our kids than what a proficiency score shows when that proficiency score is a moving target. Lexile truly allows us to see how our students are growing year over year, which in all reality, growing faster than the national average, and in many cases already higher than the national average anyway. So love to answer any questions. Erica Bierman from Everest Analytics is here as well to join us if there's any questions that I can't stumble through.
Thank you, Mr. Strickland, for that. And, we, like I said, we talked about in that meeting, when the grades come out and, when you have one state jumping, 18 points from 49th to, in the top 30, they didn't improve that much in a year. They changed the bar. So, we definitely don't want to lower our bar. We want to keep raising our bar, make sure that but we want to tell our story. We don't want to be like we talk about, compare apples to apples, and it's hard to do that. The way they do it now, it's state to state, and, looking at SAT scores in one state and other scores in another state, and, it's just not a good measuring stick. So, and talking to Mr. Strickland about this, and, I really think it's the way that, it's a way that we're going to be able to see the true picture of two things, the true picture of how our students in our district and our state are actually doing. And it also gives us a better idea of when we get those numbers from NAEP or wherever, we base our plan and what our plan is for next year, off of that. Now we'll be able to get actually true data that we can see, okay, this is what we need to look at. This is where we need to improve this, because it's actually the true data that we're seeing actually how our kids are doing. And we can address those needs. If we're looking at, just kind of glancing at the one grade is a little lower than another grade or whatever, that gives us, hey, that's where we need to focus. That's what we need to look at to get those students up to where we need them to be. So, and I think it's going to have an overall effect, on our district and the state as well.
I'm going to call her out just because we've had several conversations about Lexile and Quantile. So with Ms. Everhart, we've even talked about, having our libraries maybe go to Lexile because of, that being straight across the board. That was just a conversation that we've had in the past.
President, Ms. Randall, that you bring up a conversation that we've attempted as a district before. One library that we did move to Lexile some years ago. So we've got experience with Lexile. I will share, I don't fully understand it. Staff probably understand it much better than I do, but I'm happy to see that there is a universal ruler that can be applied. Say, things that we are doing, they are effective. So given a new administration coming in, I know that's going to happen regardless. There's things that we can continue to target and continue to work on to continue to build that progress. Nick Saban was pretty famous for a reason, not because he changed things every 4 to 8 years. That's the process. And so evident last night in the national championship that 2 of his assistants had a pretty good football game because they trusted the process. That was a fun game to watch. Sorry, I apologize for the sports analogies when we're talking literacy. There's a lot of parallel, in my opinion, in terms of how we continue to get better.
As long as they weren't trying to get it through the hoop.
Yeah, with a football, that'd be tough. You're exactly right. But that's the analogy we make. It's the state. That's what we're doing.
I know Ms. Spearman's on. Would you like to add anything?
I just want to say thank you guys so much for, Superintendent Strickland for participating. And as a lifelong New Mexican and former educator myself, this really hit home for me. I'm proud of my state. I'm proud that we actually are doing much better than the whole world thinks we are, and we only can go up from here now. Lexiles and Quantiles really do tell a true story, and it helps your teachers really understand where students need to go, because it gives you a benchmark for where kids are going to be college and career ready. And so you can set your targets toward those things and then just soar. So thank you for allowing me to participate this evening.
Thanks, Erica. Appreciate you for joining us. And Parsa was writing his email today. I've spoken to Parsa enough. It was good to have a break from Parsa.
Well, thank you both so much for all the hard work.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
More to do.
Look forward to how Mr. Morales thinks about it in the morning. Anything else on that?
No, sir.
Anybody else have anything?
Announcements?
Want to do the recognition real quick?
You want to do the recognition? Sure, absolutely. You all have some cookies there. I will point out that is from Singer Elementary. that they took note of it being Board Recognition Month, and they provided you all a card and some cookies there in expression of their appreciation for your efforts. I want to read something to you there that I'm glad Mr. Calderon, you made it, so that we all could be here, so you all could be here as part of that. January is Board of Education Appreciation Month. And I want to take a moment to personally thank the Hobbs Municipal Schools Board of Education. Our board members lead with the values that define Hobbs Schools, putting students first, serving with integrity, and working together and growing our students. They give their time, their voice, and their thoughtful leadership to support our students, our staff, and our families. Board members, your impact is felt every day in our classrooms and across our district. We are grateful for your steady guidance, your commitment to doing what's right, and your belief in the promise of every Hobbs student. On behalf of Hobbs Schools, thank you. Appreciate you. We don't pay you enough.
Get a free water.
Get a bottle of water.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's an honor to serve, and it's an honor to serve the district and students, and I look forward to seeing the great things we can accomplish in the future. So thank you all so much. Sanger Elementary, thank you for the cookies. Well, there's some principals out there, I'll remember that next year. Thank you all so much. You know, we do, you know, we all, you know, it's a service, you know, that we'd like to provide, and we are honored to provide it. So thank you very much.
Announcements?
Hmm?
Without announcements?
We'll share these cookies when we get done.
Okay, all
Take
right.
those.
We'll grab a picture and we can hand them out.
Yeah.
So announcements, just as we talked about a few minutes ago, I will be in Santa Fe tomorrow. I'll be leaving here this evening and driving to Santa Fe for that meeting with Lieutenant Governor Morales. We are monitoring the weather in terms of what that anticipated impact could be on Friday and possibly Saturday. One change that we do know as of right now, our Friday basketball game against Artesia, those have been moved to Thursday so that we can avoid any potential conflicts with Friday. Athletics office is communicating that out, as well as with Jenny on all the social channels. The National Weather Service provides weather briefings as we're getting closer to these weather events. And so Mr. Young has that first one tomorrow afternoon. Hear what their thought process are as their confidence begins to solidify more. New Mexico School Board Association Member Institute is February 5th through the 7th in Santa Fe, and Terry has placed at your desk registration, hotel information for each of you for those 3 days. The AASA, the Superintendent Association National Conference on Education, February 12th to the 14th. I am scheduled to attend that in terms of that National Conference on Education. February the 16th, we will have staff professional learning for No School on Students, No School for Students. We will have a regular board meeting the night after here, February the 17th. We'll have spring break in between that. And we will have our regular board meeting in March on the 24th after spring break. So with that, I'd stand for questions.
I have any questions? One thing I'd like to mention, I'll be flying to DC on the 29th for the National School Boards Association Leadership and Advocacy Conference. And then I'll be meeting with our local state legislators on Capitol Hill on that Tuesday. Fly back on Wednesday, and I'll drive to Santa Fe Wednesday night. So for those that are traveling up, you know, we do have, this will be your first board member institute, but we do have a pretty full slate on Thursday, and then some different things going on. But we do have scheduled time to go meet with our legislators. So take time to, you know, do your homework, look at those pre-files, what's going out there, you know, what's been filed, what they're talking about, there's anything you have heartburn with, or, that we need to, or that we're, definitely, for the bill, or if we have some questions on the bill, or some, impacts on the bill, we need to be able to share that. We'll go visit with our legislators that morning, that we can. There'll be some, committee meetings going on and things like that, we can go visit and see that, but look at those bills, do your homework. We'll try to visit, maybe that, Wednesday night or Thursday morning sometime to see kind of what's been filed and what it's looking like. If there's anything in particular we want to, have a stance on as a, as a board member or even as a district on those bills. I can't stress it enough, and our legislators, they have a tough battle and they have a tough job. So the more the information that we can give them as far as how a certain bill impacts our district and impacts our students, helps a long way, in decisions they make as far as that legislation goes. So please, please do your homework on that and be prepared to have a good institute when we get there.
President, I did leave this out. So you do have, each of you do have a copy of this at your desk. This is a copy of the program from Friday. Our Highland Middle School Symphonic Band was on stage at Pope Joy Hall on Friday, and this is their program from that. I will tell you, they did a phenomenal job. It was really a prideful moment to be in the audience and watch our 7th and 8th graders do such an amazing job representing Highland Middle School, Hobbs Schools, and the community of Hobbs as a whole. Roxy Sanchez did a great job. We'll have them here at our February board meeting to recognize them for their accomplishments. Wanted to leave you with one of those as well, so that you have those.
Is that the one where they have the ducks?
That is the one they had the ducks.
Okay.
Chickens, actually.
Chickens.
Pretty awesome. That's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was a really good time.
Any other questions, comments on it?
Vámonos.
Second. We're adjourned. Thank you all so much for coming, sticking around.